You know, folks, I've recently come to the realization that no one actually cares about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. You know, this isn't what I was clamoring for. As a real Resident Evil fan, I mean, you guys are fake Resident Evil fans. You came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. As a real Resident Evil fan, this is, believe me, not what I was clamoring for. First of all, this isn't a remake, okay? This is an all-new Resident Evil game that's loosely inspired by Resident Evil 3 1999. It's not a remake. Okay. Second of all, this isn't a survival horror experience. It's an action shooter. It's an over-the-shoulder, third-person action shooter. That's what this is. That panders to the Fortnite crowd, to the Call of Duty crowd. And you all eat it up. You know, the lazy millennial devs, you know, we've been recently hearing about these delays. Cyberpunk 2077 got delayed. Last of Us Part 2 got delayed. Avengers got delayed. Dying Light 2 got delayed. All of these games are getting delayed, except this one right here, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And out of all of the games that did get delayed, this should have been in that list as well. But the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they don't care because this is a soulless cash grab. They don't have to put out quality because they know that these stupid, silly, fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 are going to be there day one regardless of quality. And that's why they're not pushing this game back. That's why they're not reconsidering. You know what I mean? And look, I know people are going to sit there and say, oh, Michael, you just want fixed camera angles and tank controls. And it's like, guys, that wouldn't fix this. You know, whatever this is. Again, this isn't a remake. It's an all-new Resident Evil game that's loosely inspired by Resident Evil 3 1999. But adding in fixed camera angles and tank controls, believe me, would not fix this experience. There's a lot of problems here. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense. When I look at this, I don't think Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I don't think that at all. You know what I mean? They've removed everything. They're taking away. They've destroyed the core experience, and you just don't do that. Especially if you're touting this as a remake, which it's not, by the way, but if you're touting this as a remake, you have to stay faithful to the original source material. And clearly, when you look at all of what they're presenting here, they're not doing that. But you fake Resident Evil fans don't care. You never have and you never will because you were too busy going, too busy doing stupid, silly crap like that at the end of the day is going to get you nowhere. I mean, I think at this point, the only kind of saving grace that this franchise potentially has is with Resident Evil 8. Depending on what the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom put together there, I mean, that could be the one that puts maybe this franchise back on the map, because now they're just pandering to the Fortnite crowd that, you know, and it's not a meme, it's not a joke either. Like, literally, people, the new generation that came from Fortnite, Call of Duty, they've never played these old Resident Evil games before, so that's why they're jumping in now for the first time ever, you know, to experience these supposedly remakes. You know, they're not remakes. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 wasn't a remake. You know, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 isn't a remake, but these games are obviously pandering to the Fortnite crowd, the Call of Duty crowd, the new generation that has not played the old games. They don't appreciate the old games. They couldn't care less about the old games. They couldn't care less about, you know, how we got to this point with this franchise. And it's just incredibly sad to see how newcomers treat this franchise, how they say, oh, them old games suck, them fixed camera angles and tank controls, god damn, you guys played games like that back in the day? You know what I mean? That's how they sound, that's how they act. And that's why I get so upset when the fake Resident Evil fans who have now infested this franchise, they bombard, you know, everyone barking at Capcom when, you know, people need to bark at Capcom. People need to step up to that plate. And believe me, I'm the only one willing to do that. I'm the only one willing to bark at Capcom. I'm the only one willing to step up to that plate to say, hey, maybe this isn't where it needs to be. You know? But do you think Capcom is going to slam the brakes on? Absolutely not. This is the game that should have gotten delayed. But the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they don't care. And neither do you fake Resident Evil fans. Because again, you're too busy going,